Welcome back to Melodic Memories of Light's Monarch. I'm Casey, and I have to start off today's episode by saying happy 2-year anniversary to this podcast. Now, just this past week on the 19th, this podcast turned 2 years old. Absolutely insane to think I've been yapping about all of my favorite things for 2 full years, but I couldn't be more grateful, and I just wanted to say thank you to everyone listening right now, whether you're brand new listener or a listener for a while. I very much appreciate it. As always, it really doesn't go to say how appreciative I am, but thank you so much all the same for enjoying this podcast and, well, what I do. Now, to really get into it, I did say I would talk about it in this episode. If you listened last week, you know. Black Veil Brides released Vindicate commentary version on Spotify, exclusive to Spotify. Again, not too sure why. And I did find my expired by now, I think, at least. I haven't actually tried to click it, but I tried to click it on my phone and it didn't download anything. But I did find the original link to the commentary version. It sucks that I completely missed out on it. Completely my bad for not checking my emails like I should, but hey, I guess I'll learn from that mistake. But all the same, the Vindicate commentary version was absolutely perfect. I went through all of it. I actually just went through it again to get all of my thoughts formed, so I knew what I was talking about, which is why this episode will be a little bit late, all things considered. But all that aside, let's just dive into what Andy had to say about Vindicate. Now, to start off, I wrote down some notes of what he was saying and what he was talking about. They aren't perfect notes by any means. I would still highly recommend going to listen to it yourself, but if you want the abridged version and shortened version, much shortened, he actually went on for like minutes, sometimes like 8 minutes a track, like he was just going on, and it was amazing to hear, especially as a Black Veil fan and just an Andy fan in general. Like, it was awesome to really get his perspective and what he was trying to show and kind of have you perceive through this art that not only he but the rest of the band were able to create for us. But starting with the first track being Invocation to the Muse, it's a reference to an ancient literary device used in epic poems and literature, in this case with Paradise Lost by Milton, and said story's influence on the record. Calling upon the gods of art to be with you in your artistic endeavor, in this case being with you in the vindictive sense. A call to arms for revenge, the thing you'd feel when you feel the vengeful spirit, a very dark and unhealthy idea, in which is followed through the record, and it goes through the cycle of feeling with the most intense to then seeing how futile it all can be. Sonically, it matches the end and beginning, in which you can listen to it on a loop. It feels inspiring while also marking one question: if it is right. The duality of such certainty. Next up is Vindicate, track 2. This is the song that personifies the ideology he wanted to explore on this record. It has a longer history than we originally knew. This song is entering into the chaos within this emotional narrative, as if it was a circus saying, "I will do what I want and you will not stop me." Feeling more literal of what the message the band has always pushed. Andy at 34 years old, he's more grown up, and it brings back that messaging in a very true sense of where they're at now in their life. Writing about what he feels, not what will make you respond, as that can come off as insulting and utterly artless. It is the beginning of the story, the headspace of revenge, vindication, and also the follies of said lifestyle. Stand up for yourself always, as this is the journey's beginning lyrically. Next up was Certainty, the final song written. The album was finished, but was something that felt missing, lyrically at least. The theme needed the balance of revenge and vindication with the certainty people hold within themselves. The incessant battle, if you will. Conversations we have with ourselves to make us the hero and the other person or group the villain. As if you're doing the right things in life, which can be short-sighted, in which you won't ever question what you're doing, as if you're certain above all and everyone else. A very relatable thing in today's society, and all of this felt as though it needed to be specifically said. Lyrics finished in an hour or less, and a tonal shift musically with the other side to Vindicate, the pitfalls and difficulties of being certain that you're right. Great song, by the way. Loved that track. So glad it became a single. Oh my god, Certainty is fantastic. And again, a lot of what Andy has said, I did pick up on, and it's actually crazy to see how close in our own right we were in kind of breaking down Vindicate when the two hosts of BVB Armies, Hearts to Hearts, and I were able to do so. Very, very cool to know that we were quite on the nose with some things, while even being a little bit off or way off in others. But it's all just the way that it resonates within you, right, as a listener. But next up, we got track 4, Bleeders. The first song written and released. It allowed Andy to become Sweeney Todd, as that was a huge part of his life and something he's always wanted to do. Written to be part of the original vision of the record, a more direct retelling / rock opera representation of Paradise Lost and Paradise Regained by Milton. Early days, there was a song called House of Woe and Pain, an entirely different song, but this song was called Paragon, which ultimately became Bleeders. Original idea was more directly about Lucifer's fall from grace. He became more interested in writing about the way it feels to be someone in the public eye and how one's perceived. Sometimes being under that light can be a very odd place to be, in which people say things with such certainty of subjects they couldn't possibly have any idea of. On stage since he was a kid, seemingly a fruitless task of having said or shared nothing of himself, nothing of substance. It seemed more bizarre than sharing yourself with people as you're on such a stage throughout the art that one makes. The idea that fame is a fickle animal and maintaining and keeping it is also an odd thing, which made him interested in the why, in which he needed to always prove people wrong. The ultimate revenge story in Andy's mind being Sweeney Todd, and the rest was history. As Sweeney Todd gets his revenge, in which it does cost his life, this song represents that. One song in which Andy and Jake didn't produce alone, with the help of Eric Ron, of course, this song Bleeders. A version does exist with Paragon as the title, and it did get revised into what we know now as Bleeders to answer the question of why. It sets the tone for the record, especially as the lead single, and it's a very important song for the legacy of BVB. Track 5, Hallelujah. A song that was very exciting in the pre-production, where one starts feeling they've got something tonally. It felt like it was going to be a really special song. That was the song that would really show what they've been working on. Very clear early on that it was going to be the first proper single of the record. He wanted to be able to talk openly about the separate nature of conversation online and in life, about the evergreen nature of talking shit or being aggressive towards something that someone else likes in which you don't. The ways in which all the hate can make you feel, especially in Blackveil's case, isolated and wrongfully accused based on falsities. A more sarcastic tone to the classic word hallelujah, the feeling of being the other. The video was a beat-for-beat visual take on Lucifer's fall, a very cool way to use as a means to support the narrative of the record. They love to play it live, and it now feels like a staple of the setlist with the immediate energy it brings. The first time it was ever performed live, it was live streamed at Warped Long Beach show, which was very impressive and watchable on YouTube, just putting that out there. But it added that much to the song. It was the perfect first song, and the incredible Tampa choir was unbelievable in every way, with their incredible talent, musicianship, and it was so good that it influenced the intro to the entire song. Andy says that they really make the song. Next, track 6, Cut. A song that Andy feels he's able to achieve exactly what he wanted to achieve and put in the work to get there. He mentions how Lost It All started as one idea and took a long time to build into what it is now. Cut, though, was presented as a much different idea with the help of Ben Bruce and his writing partner, which the original idea was similar in tone and then black veilified, if you will, by the rest of the band. Lyrically, it's representative of the tonal emotion of the song while also feeling incredibly sincere. To be true to experiences, Andy wanted to pour all of himself into this song. It represents when someone you truly believed in lets you down in a very big way. It's a representation of the music industry Andy deals with firsthand. Also, the duality of being right where also yet having blame and responsibility in said situation. The word cut to represent the feeling of being cut down through one's vulnerability. Then Lilith Czar, she has gone through so much that it felt natural that her voice needed to be included and heard, which thus birthed the ballad duet in which we hear. The most perfect fit of all was, of course, having her on the track, which really made the song. A full Jinx-conducted orchestra was used, and it's one of Andy's favorite songs BVB has ever done. An incredible achievement and very fulfilling to work with Ben Bruce in the way they had, starting with that original demo. A unique song and a stylistic shift in the album. Track 7, Alive. Always felt to be aggressive and an ass-kicker of a song. Always the intention to have primarily screaming verses. The chorus and structure changed as they worked on the song, but Jake found the pattern in which we now hear in the final song. The word alive resonated with Andy, so much so that in spring 2024, in which he struggled and realized that the people that matter and really mean something to him reminded him that he is truly alive, and that's what being alive is really all about. Through his loved ones, the support one has, the love, the care, it's reason to be alive and to say as such. The internet is hateful, and yet in person the people are kind and thankful. It's a very big distinction in the negative not being properly representative of the art and how it's perceived. A severe panic attack from the anxiety came upon Andy during a photo shoot which became its own monster. It also, though, positively hardened Andy, telling him, "I'm alive. I'm here. I'm okay." It became a rallying cry in Andy's own mind. You cannot remove someone's hope. You can only attempt to tamp it out through one's anger, which is obviously unethical. Hope is purely emotional and up to one to always hold against all else, regardless of the negativity. Not allowing one to be caught up in the process of negativity. Leaning into said negativity in a positive, hopeful sense. It's okay to be pissed off and angry sometimes. Feel that, then move on. Also, Bruce Springsteen, Ghost in My Guitar, has a very similar sentiment. An indirect influence which really resonated with Andy, and it's also a very sincere song. Track 8, Revenger. Andy's first lyrical attempt in writing from a perspective in which he doesn't have. He's always been interested in the ethical dilemma of cheering for justice. When he was 15 years old even, he seen V for Vendetta, which was revelatory for him and influenced the core of this song. The idea of someone is wrong, so they're going to do extreme violence against people and we all cheer along. Revenge through violence, essentially the song, the person getting justice through violence is singing to themselves in their own mind. A way of justifying the violence through the hollowness of this ultimate justice. We often lose the nuance of critical thinking in such moments. The reality, though, is that revenge never wins. Because of writing with someone else's voice, it felt perfect to get another person's voice on the song. Thus came Rob Flynn, a supporter of Black Veil since the very early days, and his voice was just the perfect fit. A very natural fit in every single way considered, and a perfect combination which actually inspired Andy's book by the same name, Revenger. Track 9, Sorrow. A song that felt like a long time coming lyrically. To talk about the feeling we sometimes have against ourselves. Within the ways in which we deal with revenge, there are often times in which we become upset with ourselves and our own reactions, past or present. The regrets for one's own past behavior and not being the person one should have been. Admittance to having been wrong, and most importantly, self-admittance. The sadness of wasted time and causing negativity to others important to you. A feeling of anger and frustration can be directed at oneself, and it needed to have representation on this record. Looking inward and acknowledging it. Writing about being your own enemy and that sorrow brought from letting others down. Not a moment of celebration nor abject sadness, but spoken from being outside of it and having already moved past it. It helps to maintain one's own best version of oneself through goodness and authenticity. An amalgamation of the ways in which we feel alone in the world with one's sadness and wasted time, but speaking directly about it. One of the first songs put together for the record, co-written with Ben and Paul alongside the rest of BVB. It's a good bridge between the previous record and this one, and feels as though it could have fit on the Morning EP. Track 10, Ave Maria. Always knew it was going to be one of the heavier songs on the record, both musically and lyrically. Where it falls upon the track list, it fit the story and represents the point of no return in which one feels. Andy enjoys writing pissed off songs like lots of what's found on the fourth record. This one is a more hit you over the head aggressive song, with its hit you over the head aggressiveness in a very personal sense. There will be moments in which one has to be okay with how they are and how they may be perceived, with two middle fingers up. Tonally, it shows the ebb and flow of the album, and where we end up as it continues on. Feeling that the emotions of anger and rage can start to become more isolating and lonely. Though this represents a real singular moment of unabashed anger and a great representation of revenge and vindication. You can't change me. Lyrically, it mirrors the musicality of the song. Feels as though it could have fit in with some of the Set the World on Fire tracks, and it's also one of the most Black Veil type songs on the record. Track 11, Woe and Pain. The title came as a reference to Paradise Lost. Originally an entirely different song, which it was supposed to be, but this version, trapped in the ruining of one's own making, the only choice is to remove the shackles you created for yourself to get back to living life with joy and inspiration rather than revenge and vindication. A theme that feels like a loop for Andy in his life. It represents the moment of one's own realization of maybe I'm focusing on the dark too much. A representation of the prison of your own making. A unique moment in the band's entire catalog. It's more effective at finding the point of beginning again. The final chorus lyric, it hits that much harder, as the final chorus has a lyric change. Also, CeCe's drum fill was insane to see in person, and it really showed off and reminded him of the incredible talent of the entire band, and how he would place them against anyone out there. Track 12, Eschaton, the final track of Vindicate. Woe and Pain faded directly into Eschaton, which was written entirely in the studio as most past Black Veil tracks, starting with Wretched and Divine, had. Every song aside from this was mapped out prior to the actual studio time, in which they optimized the songs, yet this one was written entirely in the studio as a send-off for the album. Essentially something Jinx was working on musically since the beginning of the entire studio time, built upon as they were going along with the orchestra and the choir. The record needed a proper ending and the emotion of starting again, the idea of the cyclical nature of revenge and vindication. There's no winning in this life. To say you can defeat everyone else in life, that should not be the goal. The positive stuff makes life worth living, and the vindication and revenge is only a means to an end. It is not everything, even if sometimes unavoidable. It sonically represents the feeling of, well, I won, what do I do now? It's less of a song and more of a way to wrap up the record, where vocally, Andy felt absolutely dialed in every way. It felt exactly right and the perfect ending to the album itself. The sounds even at the very end of Eschaton looped back into the very beginning sounds of Invocation to the Muse to again show the very cyclical nature of Vindication and Revenge itself. How you reach that goal you have in mind and it then repeats. It's something about Andy and is very personal and important to him and who he truly is. This cycle happens constantly, and it's incredibly honest and sincere from Andy and the band's perspective. They care, and this record represents that entirely. This has been the most inspiring, fulfilling time as a band, and they've never been quite as proud of a record in albums past. No matter what Andy says about the record, though, it truly doesn't matter. What matters most is that it can mean anything to you, and how you apply it to your life and the message you take away is, again, what truly matters. He ends it by saying, hopefully this record reflects something in you and is meaningful to you as it is all meaningful to them. And that was the Vindicate commentary version, at least my take on it, and the notes that I did scribble down. It definitely talked upon it longer than I had imagined I would, but again, there was a lot to unpack with what Andy was saying. He didn't just half-ass this commentary and give us like, oh, whatever. Like, he actually cared. He went in depth and kind of lifted the veil, if you will, about Vindicate and what it meant to him as he was writing it. And again, I love the fact that he was able to reinstate and just kind of tell you as a listener, if you didn't get that from these songs, that's okay. What matters the most is how it affected you and how it sits with you over time. And literally how you actually apply the lyrics and the music, all of it, to your life as it has a message to be heard. And again, I could go on even further, but Vindicate, as I've already said many times, is an amazing album. It has a beautiful message. I absolutely adore it. What I took from the album might be different from what you took, of course. But when I was listening to it, it felt truly like how he was explaining. How revenge, this vindication that you feel with this amount of hatred for everything and everyone. How evil and harmful it can truly be to oneself, and how you shouldn't be focusing on all that, even if it can fill you with the power to move past things in the moment. You should reflect and realize that that isn't exactly the reason to live your life. To live your life is to be supported and around the people you love and loving them and being the best version of oneself while not allowing yourself to fall prey to said vindication. It's going to happen regardless, but to then realize it and notice the signs and the fact that I'm better than this and I shouldn't be falling prey to these things. Again, it might be unavoidable, but it's just acknowledging the fact to oneself that it happens and it is a cyclical nature. Like, I absolutely adored everything Andy had to say about it. I might be butchering it, but that's kind of, again, what I took from it. And if you want even more Vindicate than just the Vindicate commentary version, there is something they dropped just today as I'm recording, Monday, the 24th of August. It already premiered, but it is now out on their YouTube. If you hadn't bought the DVD CD combo pack like some of us have, you now have access to it. It is the Making of Vindicate, the documentary they made, or rather Joshua Schultz made of Black Veil Brides while they were recording the album. It's a very good watch for any Black Veil Brides fan, for anyone really wanting an in-depth look at what it takes to make an album like Vindicate, specifically what Black Veil went through. And it's a very good watch. I really enjoyed watching it the countless times I have. I feel like I've seen it at least 3 times now, and I'm definitely looking forward to watching it a 4th when I actually log into YouTube after this and, well, check it out again. Very, very good as a fan, and again, you can't go wrong with more Black Veil Brides in your life. So tell me what you thought about the album Vindicate, if you listened to the actual commentary that Andy posted himself, and if you've seen the Making of Vindicate. Let me know in the comments below, and while you're there, leave a like and share with your friends. Subscribe if you're able to. It means a lot to me every time you do. Now, just some quick things to get out of the way, since again, I'm not just talking about all Black Veil. I do have a couple other things I wanted to mention, which nothing terribly huge, but something that I am excited for if it is actually a reality. Now, to get into it, it's one of my other favorite bands, 21 Pilots. I adore everything they do, and they just recently released More Than We Ever Imagined on streaming services and CD, vinyl, what have you. And this is their live album, live from Mexico City, if I didn't mention that. And for those that are unaware, there is video for it. It was originally shown in movie theaters, specifically in IMAX. For those that were able to see it, props to you. I was one of the lucky few that was able to watch it in IMAX. But regardless, the actual visual representation of this live album, it is currently lost media, if you will. I know there's ways of downloading it illegally. I'm not about to go that route unless if they don't actually release it in any way. But if they release it, I'm buying it. Hands down, take my money, because I would love to own this. The same way that I love owning Alive and Burning by Black Veil Brides, I really want to own this from 21 Pilots. And there's other live albums, live performances that I would love to own. There's just no way to own them. And Taylor Swift, I'm looking at you. Take them off Disney Plus and let me actually own the Eras Tour, please. I was at some of those shows, like, come on. But regardless, with 21 Pilots, there has been a leak. Now, usually I don't talk about leaks, but this isn't in the artistic sense. It's just, hey, this is a product that might actually exist, because it's being posted on Walmart.com. Now, I don't know how authentic it is. There's nothing said about it. The click is kind of freaking out at the moment. If you know, you know. But there are listings, or a listing rather, for a pre-order for More Than We Ever Imagined 4K SteelBook. Oh my god, it looks fantastic if that is actually the artwork for it, and if it's a 4K SteelBook, oh my god, even better. Again, I was in the camp of, I'll take it on DVD. Whatever's cheapest, just give it to me, please. If they're actually going through with a 4K movie, like a proper 4K disc, and in a SteelBook, mind you, which also, in the photos that were posted with it, has like an foldable poster, and that looked absolutely sick. Like, I just love when things are thrown into physical media packages and it's not just the disc. Like, that just makes the experience that much more exciting. So whether or not it's real, I don't know, but I had to put my 2 cents on it because I really hope it is. And if so, thank you, Mark. He's the guy that kind of is behind the scenes very heavily, and he was pushing for physical media for this release. So the fact that it hadn't released yet, I was uncertain if it ever would be, but with this coming out of nowhere, I'm thinking, hey, it very well might be. So keep your eyes peeled for that to see if it is actually real or not. Now, next up, keeping in the vein of 21 Pilots, I needed to mention they have been nominated for the Alternative Award at the VMAs. MTV, they have their Video Music Awards, and yeah, 21 Pilots has been nominated. Now, I'm not going to touch on every single nomination. I'm really just focusing on them. 21 Pilots are in the alternative category against bands such as Geese, MGK and Fred Durst, Noah Kahan, Olivia Rodrigo, Somber, Tame Impala, and of course, well, 21 Pilots. So they're against these artists, and for the song that they are actually nominated for, rather the music video, again, it's the VMAs, it's not just purely based on the song, Drag Path has been nominated for a VMA. Now, I love Drag Path, specifically the Digital Remains version, the one that, you know, if you were a fan at the time and actually bought the Digital Remains at the edition, that would be the version you got. This Drag Path is the music video version, so the one that is on all the streaming services. Obviously not the superior version, but again, that's That's just my particular taste. All that to be said, though, still an amazing song, all things considered. Though the music video is what kind of gets me. Now, the music video, I love it. It's stop motion. It's got a little bunny rabbit. It's an old video from like 2012, maybe 2013. It's from a while back. It might even be older than that. Again, apologies on not knowing, certainly. But when it comes down to this music video, I'm shocked that it got chose when in, an alternative choice, if you will, could have been their $1 million music video, the one that they spent $1 million on, being City Walls, the lead single for the album. Well, maybe not lead single, I guess that was actually the contract, but you know what I'm saying, the big one that ended their whole storyline, literally in video form, that never nominated. Not nominated last year, not nominated this year. I'm actually shocked. And I don't mean to make this a negative thing. I'm very happy that Dragpath is nominated. I've been voting for them every single day that I remember to open it up, which luckily enough, as of right now, has been every single day since it was announced on like Friday or whatever day it actually came up. So if you're interested, go vote for 21 Pilots or any other artist that has been nominated. There's a lot of different categories. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, MTV removed the rock category, though. I guess they're just saying, hey, alternative is the same, but I'm not throwing my hat in that ring. I think they're wrong, but I mean, whatever. It is what it is. Vote if you want your favorite artists to win. It is completely fan voted, and I'm going to be voting for 21 Pilots till the actual voting closes because I really want them to win, but I do think it's strange that Dragpath was the choice rather than City Walls for how impactful the video was and how much effort they put into it and how it was actually a video created by the band rather than what Dragpath's music video is. But hey, here's hoping the boys can pull off a win, and even more so, back to what I was saying prior, hopefully that 4K SteelBook is real because I really can't stop thinking about that one. Now, the last thing before I jump into the new/upcoming releases for the week, I needed to touch upon the upcoming Gamescom. Now, it runs from August 26th to August 30th, and I just needed to touch on it because Fable themselves made a post, and their post said, just a few days until Gamescom 2026. Ralph Fulton, Fable game director, will be live with Xbox on August 26th from 3 p.m. BST as part of their Gamescom broadcast. Be sure to follow us for new gameplay reveals and more Gamescom coverage throughout the event. So Fable's going to have a big presence here, and it looks like they changed the actual art direction a little bit. Now, the main girl character, if you choose to play as a female in Fable, she got her whole design redesigned. She doesn't look the same at all, and I was actually kind of shocked. I know she was getting a lot of hate on the internet. I don't know exactly why, aside from people are fucking assholes, but hey, everyone has their own opinion, better or worse, I guess. But it was shocking to see, like, wow, they caved into people saying, hey, make her prettier, and I don't think that they should have. Like, I think pretty is subjective, truly, right? Like, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That is what we all know. Am I wrong? So when it comes down to the conventional pretty, why wasn't she? Why was it such a problem? Like, it's one thing to bully Sega into redesigning Sonic to make him look like how he's supposed to, because he's a legacy character. He has a way that he's supposed to look. This is a brand new character in a brand new rebooted game, and it's a character that you're able to customize. Like, that is the character you will play as if you choose the female role. And I don't get why they felt it necessary to change it other than the fact to appease the shitty people on the internet. And yeah, that was kind of upsetting. I'm excited to see what comes of Fable, what they're actually able to show at Gamescom, because it's supposed to come out in February, the actual game itself. So I'm excited to see what they show. Just needed to mention that because I thought it was so strange that they actually changed that. Also, on top of just video game news, I needed to say this very quickly. I finally received, like, Thursday last week, I finally received Croc Legend of the Gobos Platinum Edition. Now, a little bit of backstory for this whole situation. It's originally a PS1, I think, Sega game. It was on a couple different platforms, but regardless, it's an old kind of platformer title. And I grew up with it. I adore it. The controls were so bad, though, that I never actually ended up beating it. Now, lo and behold, probably 20, 30 years later, they finally remade the game on modern platforms, modern consoles. And I ordered the physical disc, the physical edition of the game, and I waited 1 year and 10 months to get my hands on it. Now, I finally have it. It is absolutely everything I could have hoped for. It is the definition of a remake or a remaster. I believe remake is the right word in this context. Done right. It is the definition of that. And I don't think I've ever played another game that has been done as faithfully as this one. And I mean in every way, shape, and form. The game feels exactly like it's supposed to. The extra kind of bonus features, the entire what they deem as Crocopedia, is so extensive. Like, there's so much to this release. It was worth the wait in every single sense of the word. There's even a colored manual, like a 30-page manual inside the case that goes over the story of the game. Like the backstory of the Gobos, what they are, who they are, what Dante is, Baron Dante, the Dantinis. I know this probably means nothing to everybody, but still, there's a lot for this release, and I'm very happy with it. I was just shocked I had to wait so long. Oh my god. But rant over. I had to mention it. It has been a very fun time, all things considered, and I myself have really been enjoying going through it. And again, I think after this podcast episode, I might very well be done it. So we'll see how it goes. Now for some new / upcoming releases, as always. Starting with this Friday, we're getting a new song from In This Moment with Rory from Dayseeker. Now, this came out a little bit ago that he was going to be on the new In This Moment album. I don't have the name of the song written down, unfortunately, but it is coming out this Friday. You don't have very long to wait, and I'm very excited for it. I'm curious what they're going to do. I heard a little bit of a snippet of it. I don't know exactly how to feel quite yet, but I'm going to go in with some hope that it will be good. Also on the Dayseeker front, they actually announced through SiriusXM Octane that they aren't done with their Creature album just yet. Rory told Jose that they're putting the finishing touches on a deluxe edition with 7 extra tracks, with new collaborations and a cover that he's not ready to reveal just yet. So anyone that loved Dayseeker's newest album, get ready, because you're about to hear some more of it. And that in itself is exciting. Didn't like the album when it came out. I was very clear about that. I haven't really went back to it. Some of the songs, though, they did grow on me. Not all of them, but some of them did. And this might actually be the excuse to properly listen to it some more, and also get it to add it to my vinyl collection, because it was the one that I actually missed out on, which I was kicking myself a little bit. But once I heard that, oh, hey, there's going to be a deluxe edition, well, odds are that'll come out on vinyl too, right? Right? Hopefully. Fingers crossed. But we will obviously just have to wait and see. Now for the new releases, we got Ninth Key with No Place Like Home. That's the band with Echo and Low Spirit. Then we got Nickelback, Leave Me Behind. Linkin Park, What I've Done, from their Unshatter film, their soundtrack for the film itself. And just some little release from Patrick Stump and Disney Jr., being the Disney Jr. music Marvel, Spidey, and the Avengers Halloween team-up. Wow, that is a mouthful. But I haven't ever listened to any of his Marvel Spider-Man stuff. I know it's for kids, but I had to mention it because it showed up in the list all the same. Now, that's all I have for this episode. I just wanted to touch upon it again, that I really can't believe it's been 2 years of this podcast. It feels like time doesn't actually exist. I had so much more that I wanted to do with this podcast, and I know I still can. And I have a lot more fulfillment to achieve, I guess. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, but I have more things that I'm ready to achieve, and I want to start that here soon. So there's another account called Light's Thoughts on Twitter. It's where I'm going to be posting some poetry. I've been writing over the past while. God knows I've been writing for my whole life, if you will. Since I've learned how to write, I've enjoyed poetry. And I kind of felt like, hey, it might be time to actually post some of it. I don't have a lot fully finished, just a lot of drafts in my notes of pieces here and there from God knows when over the years. And I'm ready to kind of delve into them and give them a new life. I don't know what they'll look like or how they'll come across, but I have a little bit of an idea, and be sure to follow that page. It will be shared on my own other pages at Lights Monarch, of course, but follow that page if you're interested in poetry. I will be posting to it soon. So thank you so much for listening, as always, and of course, thank you for discovering the music within.